appreciate that. Last night in men's basketball, the year from hell continues for Texas Tech as West Virginia beat them soundly by double digits with Bob Huggins and the Mountaineers going into Lubbock. And the Red Raiders are winless, and it is amazing if you think about it. And, again, they lost some players like everybody did. They also had players come in last year that helped them be as good as they were, and that's kind of what it is now. What in the hell's happened at Texas Tech? They're close in some games, but right now it does, and they're capable of winning 5 or 6 games. I don't know. There's not many left, but they have just completely lost all the mojo in the men's basketball program.
I think they've got a confidence problem, and when you're on a losing streak, the here we go again I think probably pops up a lot quicker. Especially West Virginia has now got their second conference win. They're trying to claw out of the 0-4 hole that they started with, and none of those teams that have started out poorly in the Big 12 or on streaks, like we said over and over again, are bad teams. Tech could win more games in a lot of conferences. Although just the way that it's working for them right now, I do think that, you can't just, when you think about losing Terrence Shannon and Kevin McCullough, guys who could be back with you if they're using their eligibility with you and not Terrence Shannon at Illinois and McCullough in the league at Kansas, that's hard to come back from. Even if you feel like you're pretty good with your program, those are 2 stud players they had, and they're just gone. So it's hard to just replace that.
Yeah, I mean, IMAC, is hurt now, and they've lost him once again. They've had other injuries. There's also all the stuff that never really got too public that was swirling with Mark Adams that just felt like it kind of made everything sort of feel a little bit off, the off-the-court kind of chatter. And I think that's, equally contributed to their issues. You'll see some make the argument of just how young of a team that they are, that they just need to grow up some more. I've seen quite a bit of that. But I've seen quite a bit of people that feel like, yeah, they lost their little window. They lost their little magic window that seemed like it was going to be propped open for a long time. Now, granted, in this day and age, you can flip a team pretty quickly, but they went from Chris Beard and feeling like they were on the cusp of winning a national title to they're wondering when they can win a Big 12 game, and it's nearly February. So, yeah, not at all what was planned, not at all what was thought to be set up for this season. And, with Adams last year, you just felt like, hey, that, sucked that Beard left, but they've got the guy who was the real genius, right? The real genius behind, the defense and the real, you heard a lot of that. And whether that was coping mechanisms or not, there was at least some wins to strengthen your conversation if you wanted to approach it that way. But there's none of that this year. There's none of that, and Beard's not even in the equation any longer. You got to celebrate that for like 5 seconds, like, oh, see, we ended up with the right guy after all, and now you're still, did we? Because I think that there's serious questions about, the things aside of whether it's youth or injuries or whatever. I think there's still a question, even if all those things were fine and the record was a little bit different. It's a little bit of wondering about if Mark Adams really is that guy who is the guy that will lead them, back to where they were just a couple of years ago and keep them in that area. So we'll see. But, yeah, something's just not right in the water out there. And what a fall from grace. I mean, to have probably your best opportunity remaining, or at least best opportunity in front of you for foreseeable future with that game last night, thinking like this is the game that we're going to finally win. We're finally going to get this Big 12 win. And you get blown out. You get blown out by double digits. I mean, come on, man. That's a tough pill to swallow. So,
and
yeah,
you lose Pop Isaacs maybe again.
And Pop, I mean, just thinking of the injuries, yes. I didn't realize Pop Isaacs is now dinged up. So, yeah, I mean, they're in a world of hurt, and there's not really, any sunshine on the opposite side saying like, oh, well, here's what's going to change it in the next month. So, yeah, they're in a bad way right now.
They really are. Bob Huggins, who's known Adams for a long, long time, as most of them do, trying to maybe give Adams a little bit of consoling. In a way, they talked, and it was part of the press conference. I didn't listen to that, but I saw a couple of quotes on that, and obviously it's a tough time. At 0-8, though, man, it's hard to imagine, but that's exactly where Texas Tech is. And, hey, when everybody's good, there's always got to be somebody that's part of what I call, the shrapnel. If everyone's good, then somebody who gets into a funk, you could be 0-8 or 2-6, but normally someone's got a couple of wins, and that's not the case right now. Austin